Standing with your feet hip width apart, starting with some shoulder rolls. Breathing in, let the shoulders roll up to the ears, and then breathing out as they slide down. Nice deep breath in and out as you roll the shoulders up and down. Floating the arms out to the side, take another deep breath in, filling up the lungs. And as you breathe out, start to roll down through the spine, using the tummy muscles to work your way down. Bend the knees here if you need to. Shaking the head yes and no. Keeping the arms relaxed and the head relaxed as you start to roll back up through the spine. Take another deep breath in as the arms come out through the side of the body, and exhale as they come back down. Rolling back down through the spine, making sure you use the tummy muscles here. Then walk your hands out into a downward dog position, sticking the bottom right up to the ceiling and working through the feet, one heel at a time, pressing down to the floor, stretching out the calves and the hamstrings. Keeping the arms straight and the spine straight as you can. And then you're going to slide over the hands and go down into a plank position. Keep the shoulders down, keep the neck long, keep your core engaged so you're drawing your belly button up to the spine, pulling up through the pelvic floor muscles and watching the hips don't sink lower than the shoulders or the feet. Another couple of breaths here. And then lowering down, sitting the bottom back to the heels, and just take a nice child pose stretch. Rolling up and flipping over onto your back. I'm going to start with some pelvic curl up. So make sure again the heels are in line with your sit bones and the knees are bent at a right degree angle. On the next breath out, you're going to scoop up the tummy and roll up through the spine, pressing down through the feet, squeezing the bottom, and then rolling back down. You're going to keep the neck nice and long and the shoulders relaxed. Just feel your spine lengthening each time you start to roll down through the spine, creating space through every single vertebrae. Rolling back up, squeezing the bottom, right up into the bra strap area. Holding it there and let the arms float up and over the head. So you're breathing in as both arms float over the head, and then exhale as they come back down, keeping the pelvis where it is in space. Watch you don't arch the back too much. Are you watching to keep the lower back nice and flat, and then rolling back down? Let the pelvis relax and just rolling the head from side to side, feeling the weight of your head rolling from side to side, and then rolling back up through the pelvis. Keep the arms long. Take one leg up to tabletop and make sure you keep squeezing through the right butt cheek. Swapping legs and watching not to arch through the lower back. You should feel quite a bit of tension through the hamstring and the bottom. You might even get a little cramp, in which case just pause the video and give your hamstrings a little stretch. Back to the first leg, you're going to add some pulses, so lowering the hips and lift the hip and lower and lift, so you're really pushing through the opposite leg. You should feel quite a lot of tension through the bottom, keeping the spine as flat as possible. Keep the leg that's at tabletop still and swapping over for another set of the other leg. So pushing up and down, squeezing the bottom. Keep breathing. Exhale to lift, breathe into lower, and keeping the neck relaxed. Take the leg down and then start to roll back down through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. And just hugging the knees into the chest to give the lower back a little massage. Just pulling the knees in towards the chest. Circling the legs one way for a while and then the other way. Should feel a nice release here in the lower back. Take the legs to tabletop. We're going to do a little bit of core work. We're going to float one leg down, tap the toe, and then take it back up to tabletop. So as you breathe out, Pull the tummy muscles tight and let the leg float down into a little toe tap. Watch your back doesn't move here and your pelvis doesn't move. You want to keep a neutral spine, a neutral pelvis, and keep breathing through the movement. Breathing out as you lower the leg and breathing in to return. Pulling one knee into the chest and stretch the other leg long and out of the hip. Breathing out, straighten the other leg and pull the other knee into the chest. Again, watching not to move the spine or the pelvis. You want to keep the beautiful long neutral spine. Working really hard through the center to maintain stability through your torso and your pelvis. Curling up through the chest, repeating the toe taps, this time keeping your head lifted and your shoulder blades lifted just off the mat. Keep breathing out as you float the leg down and breathing in to return. You should feel a little stronger through the abs here. And going back into the knee stretch, so pulling one knee into the chest and stretching the other leg out. Watching you keep your shoulder blades just off the mat the entire time. So using your abdominals to lift the ribs up towards or down towards the hips. And going into your hundreds, so pumping the air. You're going to breathe in for 5 and out for 5. And start to stretch out the legs. A modified version would be to keep your legs at tabletop. If your back feels fine, you can stretch the legs out nice and long. Continue to pump the arms. Keep breathing, keep lifting the shoulder blades up off the mat. Keep drawing the belly button tight to the spine and then lowering down for a little stretch here. Float the arms up above the head. And just twisting your legs and your pelvis from side to side. Stretching through the core. Take the legs back up to tabletop and we're going to go into some twists. So stretch one leg out and twist to the opposite knee. You want to really take that elbow right over to the opposite knee, narrowing the waist and twisting through the rib cage, keeping the torso as stable as possible as you work your way through one side to the other and lowering down for a little rest. Adding some scissor legs here, so one leg straight, reaching right up to the ceiling, the other leg's out long, and you're looking to touch the fingertips behind the thigh into little oblique pulses. Reach and twist. Keep going through the same side. And then take both arms around to the outside of the leg. Continue the pulses, but just go a little quicker now. Keep the legs as straight as possible, pointing through both toes. If that's a little intense, you can always bend the one leg to the ground and keep the top leg stretched up to the ceiling. Swapping over to the other side, keep breathing. Exhale on the lift. Both legs reaching away from each other. Or bending the left leg so that the foot's on the floor, if that's a little too intense for your back. Keep going now with both arms on the outside of the leg, reaching, lifting the chest off the floor. Keep stretching through the legs. Keep breathing and coming down for another knee hug. Take the arms up above the head and we're just going to twist from side to side, stretching out through the core and slowing down the breathing. Float the arms up above the head and then rolling up into a seated position, arching up through the spine. You're going to flip around into a plank position and we're going to go into some back kicks through the leg. So keeping the torso stable, hands below the shoulder blades, and you're going to take one leg up into a little pulse. So you're doing it like a little double kick. The trick is to keep your knees nice and stretched and keep pushing through the heels. Keep tension through the elbows and the shoulders, watching not to sink through the shoulders. Or arch the back, so keeping the spine neutral. You should feel this in your bottom, in your tummy, and through the arms. Come back down into child pose and just stretch that out for a minute. Rolling up into a 4-point kneeling position. Make sure your knees are below your hips, hands below the shoulders. Reach one arm and the opposite leg out, and then curling through the spine as the knee and the elbow meet in the middle. Exhale, curling up. Let the knee tuck in as the elbow curls in and then reaching back out. Again, you're looking to keep the torso as stable as possible, going into a cat stretch and then back out into a neutral spine. Curling up. Use the abdominals here to curl up into that beautiful cat stretch. Keeping the opposite arm and leg as still as possible, creating a beautiful, controlled, fluid movement. Reaching right out to the fingertips and the toes and coming back into your 4-point kneeling position. Ready for some push-ups. So doing 5 slow push-ups here, crossing the ankles. You can do these on the knees or up on the toes. You want to breathe out as you lower and breathe in to push back up. The knees should be a little further away from the hips. And then curling back into a cat stretch to stretch out the arms. Coming back up. And 10 push-ups now, a little faster, so pick up the pace. Breathing out as you lower, breathing in to return. Keeping the core engaged so that you don't arch through the back. Always maintaining that neutral pelvis and neutral spine. Keep the neck in line with the body. And reaching back into your child pose just to stretch that out. Don't forget to breathe. Rolling back up into your 4-point kneeling position to repeat the extended arm and leg cat curl. So it's a really nice way to stretch the muscles, but also create definition. So you're toning at the same time. Swapping over to the other side. Exhale as you curl up through the spine and breathing in as you lengthen through the toes and the fingertips. Last one. And coming back down. For some cat-cow stretches. So curling up into a beautiful cat stretch, tucking the tailbone through to the knees and then unraveling back down through the spine. Let your head float up to the ceiling, tailbone up to the ceiling, and then rolling back up. So you're wanting to use your abdominal muscles here to create this movement. So you're leading from the tummy rather than the back. Engaging the pelvic floor, pulling the belly button right up to the spine, pushing through the hands, and then unraveling back down in the opposite direction. Then to finish up with some spine twists, you want to push through your left arm, reach the right arm up to the ceiling, and then unravel through, curling your right arm through the left hand and leg, twisting up and through like a corkscrew. Keep the arm that's on the floor straight as you twist up, and then bend it slightly as you twist through, creating that stretch through the spine. You want to watch that your pelvis stays above the knees, so you're not swinging the hips forward and back. It's more about rotating through the spine here. Keep the neck long and the shoulders down. Taking the hands back together, sit back into the heels, and you're finished with your practice. Just take a few moments here in a comfortable position. Just focus on your breathing and allowing the body to relax. I hope you enjoyed the exercise.